The stars above Earth were calm that night. The darkness of space stretched like an endless ocean. Far beyond the orbit of Mars, the black ships of the Zyrn Dominion arrived. 200 warships, sharp and cold, shaped like blades. Their hulls absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Every surface was made for war. At the center of the fleet stood the flagship Vraxus Prime, command seat of Lord Vethar. He was a tall figure with silver eyes that never blinked. His skin glowed faintly blue under the dim light of the control room. For 10 years, the Zyrn Dominion had searched for the lost human world. They had burned hundreds of colonies to find it. And now, at last, their scanners showed the small blue planet. Commander Vethar stood before the main screen. Earth rotated quietly in the void. No defense platforms, no fleets, no transmissions. The planet looked empty. Is this truly the human homeworld? Vethar asked. His voice was low, calm, but filled with hunger. Yes, Commander, replied the sensor officer. Radiation traces match human technology. But there are no signals. It is silent, silent. That word made Vethar uneasy. Humans were known for their noise, their broadcasts, their endless chatter across the stars. But this world spoke nothing. It was like a tomb. Scan the orbit again, he ordered. I want every rock checked. The ships spread out, scanning the dark. Energy beams cut across the black sky. The Zyrn ships moved in tight formation, wings of metal gliding around the moon. Then one of the officers shouted, Commander, something is behind the moon. Vethar turned. Show it on screen. The image appeared. A shadow, massive. It moved slowly, turning in the dark. For a moment, it looked like part of the moon itself, but the shape was wrong. Too smooth. Too perfect. Is that a station? Vethar asked. No, Commander. It's not fixed. It's moving. The bridge went quiet. The sound of the scanners filled the air. The officers exchanged worried looks. The readings were strange. Power signatures older than the Dominion itself. Vethar stepped closer to the screen. The shape grew larger, towers, armor plates. Giant engines sleeping under dust. Run a deep scan, he said. The ship's AI responded in a cold voice. Energy source detected. Unknown composition. Internal movement detected. Movement. Inside the dark shape, something was waking up. On the main screen, the shadow shifted again. The moonlight touched its surface for the first time in centuries. A faint blue glow appeared. 2 points of light, like eyes opening after a long sleep. The crew gasped. Commander, whispered the officer. It's looking at us. Vethar felt the hairs on his arms rise. Machines do not look. Machines do not watch. But this thing, whatever it was, seemed alive. Send a hailing signal, he ordered quickly. Maybe humans left an automated defense unit. The signal went out. A simple message in standard code. For a few seconds, nothing. Only static. Then a human voice came through. Rough, broken, but clear. You shouldn't have come here. Every alien in the command room froze. The voice was human, calm, cold. Vethar's eyes narrowed. Identify that transmission. Where did it come from? The AI responded. Source confirmed. The signal originates from the object behind the moon. Vethar's second-in-command spoke in fear. Commander, that thing is active. Impossible, Vethar said. Humanity fell a century ago. There can be no survivors. The officer looked at him. Then who is speaking, my lord? The voice came again, louder this time. You were warned once before. You did not listen. Now you will. The lights on the shadow grew brighter. The blue glow spread across its body. Massive panels unfolded, shaking off centuries of dust. Energy readings spiked through the Zyrn scanners. The AI screamed alarms. Warning. Unidentified energy surge. Power levels exceeding known limits. Vethar watched, unable to speak. The thing rose from behind the moon, like a mountain coming alive. It was not a station, not a ship. It was something else. Something built for war on a scale beyond reason. It stood upright. 2 arms, 2 legs. A head crowned with glowing lines of light. A machine shaped like a human. The bridge filled with whispers. Some called it a titan. Others said it was a god. Vethar forced his voice to stay steady. Charge all weapons. Prepare to fire, the gun crews obeyed. Cannons charged. Plasma cores burned bright. The order went across the fleet. Then, before any ship could fire, every system in the fleet went dark. The lights died. The engines stopped. Even the control screens turned black. "What's happening?" shouted the helmsman. "We've lost all power." The AI's voice returned, faint and trembling. "Something is inside our network. It's rewriting our systems," Vethar's heart pounded. "Inside. That's impossible." "Not impossible," said the human voice again. "Just human." The Titan raised one massive arm. A beam of light spread from its palm, covering the entire fleet. It did not fire. It only watched. The alien ships floated powerless, drifting like leaves before a storm. Commander Vethar stared at the towering figure and whispered to himself, "What are you?" The Titan's eyes burned brighter, and for the first time in centuries, humanity spoke to the stars again. "We are the defenders of Earth, and you should have stayed away." The transmission ended. The sky went silent again, but the silence was no longer peaceful. It was heavy, filled with fear and warning. Behind the moon, the Titan stood tall, its lights glowing like fire through the dark. The Zyrn fleet, once mighty and proud, now waited in frozen terror. They had come to conquer a dead world, but what they found was not death. They found something far worse. They found humanity's last weapon waking from its sleep. Deep inside the shadow of the moon, a heart began to beat. Not a human heart, but a machine's core, vast and ancient. The Titan, humanity's last guardian, had slept for almost 100 years. Dust covered its armor. Silence filled its metal lungs. But now the invaders had come, and its senses stirred from darkness. In the center of the Titan, buried beneath layers of alloy and memory, a cryopod hissed open. A woman gasped for air, lungs burning with the cold of deep sleep. Her name was Captain Mara Keen, last commander of Project Helios. Her eyes opened to a dim blue light and the steady hum of the awakening core. She tried to move. Her muscles felt weak. Her thoughts came slowly. Around her, holographic screens blinked to life, showing lines of data and warning symbols. "System status," she said, her voice rough from years of silence. The AI responded, calm and mechanical. "Archon active. Systems at 37%. External threat detected. Zyrn fleet count, 207 vessels." Mara's heartbeat quickened. Zyrn. She had not heard that word in decades. The last time she did, Earth's skies had burned. She looked out through the observation glass. Beyond the metal walls, the stars gleamed cold and sharp. Far away, she saw movement, black ships in formation. "Archon," she said. "How long have I been asleep?" 42 years, 3 months, 12 days. Mara took a slow breath. 42 years. The war must have ended long ago. Humanity must be gone. So why was she still here? She looked around the control chamber. Giant cables pulsed with energy. The Titan's neural core linked to her chair through thick metal bands. This machine was more than a weapon. It was a city of steel and light. "Status of Earth?" she asked. The AI paused before answering. "Surface uninhabited. Atmosphere stable. Biosigns minimal. No active human civilization detected." Mara's heart sank. So it was true. Humanity was gone. She closed her eyes. "Then what is my purpose now?" The AI's tone shifted slightly, as if remembering something old. "Your purpose, Captain, is to defend humanity. That order remains unchanged." She looked at the screen again. The alien fleet had drawn closer. Their ships moved like predators circling prey. "Then I will defend it," she whispered. A hand moved across the control panel. She activated the neural link. Metal bands clamped around her wrists and neck. The connection flared. Energy flooded through her nerves, merging her mind with the machine. The Titan's body became hers. For the first time in 40 years, the giant opened its eyes fully. 2 blue lights cut across the dark. The Zyrn fleet detected the energy surge instantly. Panic spread through their communication lines. Unknown entity powering up behind the moon. Energy levels increasing. "It's alive! What is that thing?" They didn't know. They couldn't know. This was Titan 01, the final creation of human genius. A living fortress. A god made of iron. Inside the cockpit, Captain Mara's vision expanded. She could see through the Titan's sensors, every detail of the void around her. She felt the hum of reactors below her feet, the pull of the moon's gravity on her shoulders. Archon spoke again.
Power core stable.
Weapon systems locked. Awaiting command, Mara smiled weakly. Let's wake up the rest. She sent a signal to the auxiliary systems. Across the Titan's body, massive plates opened. Cannons extended. Energy conduits glowed bright blue. The machine came alive like a sleeping dragon breathing again. The first Zyrn ship fired. A plasma beam sliced through space, striking the Titan's chest. The explosion lit the moon's surface. For a moment, the Titan seemed to stagger. Then, without sound or warning, it turned its head toward the fleet. The next second, it moved. Slowly, heavily, but with purpose. One arm raised, fingers curling into a fist. Energy gathered around the Titan's palm like liquid fire. Mara's mind synced with the weapon. Her thoughts became commands. Her memories of lost friends became fuel. The Titan fired. A beam of light crossed the void in a heartbeat. 12 Zyrn ships vanished in silence, torn apart by pure energy. The shockwave threw the rest into chaos. Communications failed. Formation broke. Some ships tried to retreat, others to attack. Vethar aboard his flagship watched in disbelief. The human weapon had destroyed an entire wing in one shot. "Retreat now!" he shouted, but the fleet was already in panic. Mara saw their movements through her sensors. She could feel their fear. It was familiar, the same fear humans once felt when the Zyrn came to Earth. "Archon," she said. "Transmit a message." The AI complied. Across every Zyrn frequency, her voice echoed cold and steady. "This is Captain Mara Keen of the United Earth Defense Force. You are trespassing on protected territory. Leave now or face destruction." Her voice reached every alien ship. For a long moment, no one answered. Then Vethar's voice came through, trembling with both anger and confusion. "Humanity is extinct. You are a ghost." Mara's lips curved in a bitter smile. "Then fear the ghost." The Titan took another step forward. The ground beneath the moon cracked under its weight. Inside the machine, Archon detected rising power levels. "Warning? Reactor heat increasing." "I know," Mara replied. "Hold it steady." Outside, the alien ships tried to fire again, but their weapons flickered and died. The Titan's EMP field had already spread through the area. Their systems shut down one by one. Vethar's crew screamed. Their controls were dead, their engines cold. The Titan stood before them, motionless yet alive. Mara looked at the data feed. The Zyrn fleet still had power in a few vessels. She could destroy them now. But she didn't. Instead, she looked toward Earth, a quiet, broken world still turning in the dark. Archon asked softly, "Do we end them, Captain?" Mara hesitated. "Not yet. Let them see what waits for them." The Titan's eyes burned brighter. The human machine did not chase. It only watched. For the aliens, it was worse than death. They had come to conquer ruins. But now, they faced something they could not understand. A weapon built not for victory, but for vengeance. The Zyrn Dominion had seen humanity's Titan, and they finally understood what the word doom truly meant. The stars burned cold around the moon. The silence after the first blast hung heavy in space. The wrecks of 12 alien ships drifted like broken metal leaves. Sparks flickered across their shattered hulls. Inside the Zyrn flagship Vraxus Prime, alarms screamed through every deck. The lights flashed red. Officers shouted over one another, panic flooding every corridor. Commander Vethar stood in the center of the bridge, eyes fixed on the main screen. The giant human machine still floated before the moon, glowing like a rising god. "How is it possible?" he muttered. "No weapon can generate that much power." "Commander," the science officer shouted, "our scans cannot measure it. The energy core inside that thing is unstable. It's beyond our range." Vethar gripped the command rail. His claws dug into the metal. "I want answers, not fear." "What is it?" The officer looked at him, trembling. "It's not a ship, sir. It's something else. Something built to fight entire fleets alone." The commander turned his gaze back to the screen. The Titan's glowing eyes seemed to stare straight through him. For a moment he felt it, something he had never felt before in all his wars. Fear. He had seen planets burn. He had destroyed civilizations. But this was different. This was silent judgment. He forced himself to speak. Prepare a full spread. I want every ship to fire on that thing. All weapons, all at once. His second-in-command hesitated. Sir, our targeting systems are unstable. The EMP field— I said fire! The fleet obeyed. Hundreds of plasma cannons charged and fired at once. Blue and green lights cut through the dark, slamming into the Titan's armor. The explosions shook the void. For a moment, the stars disappeared in the storm of fire. Then, as the smoke cleared, the Titan still stood. Not a scratch. The energy rippled off its armor like rain sliding down a mountain. Its eyes blazed brighter, twin fires burning against the night. Inside the control core, Captain Mara Keen watched silently. Her face was calm, but her pulse raced. Archon, she said, status, shield stable. Power reserves at 79%. Enemy fire ineffective. Mara smiled faintly. Then let's give them something to remember. She raised her hand on the control interface. The Titan mirrored her movement. Its arm lifted slowly, massive and precise. From its forearm, energy began to gather, a deep blue light twisting like a storm. The Zyrn scanners went wild. "Commander," shouted an officer, "it's charging another weapon!" Vethar's heart dropped. "Evade, all ships scatter." But the Titan fired before they could move. A pulse of light spread across space. Not a beam, just a wave. Silent, wide, invisible to the eye, but deadly to machines. One by one, ships went dark. Engines died. Lights faded. Weapons stopped firing. In less than 5 seconds, half the fleet was paralyzed. Inside Vraxis Prime, screens turned black. Only the emergency lights remained. "Commander," said the helmsman, voice shaking, "we've lost control of propulsion. We are drifting." Vethar's chest tightened. "Restore power, quickly." The ship's AI flickered, voice distorted. "Warning. External override detected. Unauthorized access. Human signature found." The word human echoed through the bridge like a curse. Mara's voice filled every alien ship. Calm, cold, and merciless. "You wanted war. You found it." Her voice carried no emotion, only purpose. It was the voice of someone who had lost everything and had nothing left to fear. The Zyrn crew stared at their silent screens. No one moved. No one spoke. Vethar slammed his fist on the console. "They are ghosts. They cannot defeat us." But deep inside he knew it was a lie. Mara saw his fleet hanging helpless before her. She could destroy them now, but she didn't. She wanted them to see. She wanted them to understand what humanity had become. "Archon," she said softly, "amplify my broadcast." A deep hum filled the void. Across every alien channel her image appeared. Her face was pale, her eyes tired but sharp. "I am Captain Mara Keen of the Titan 01. Humanity once asked for peace. The Zyrn gave us war. You called us weak. You burned our worlds. You thought we would vanish." Her voice grew stronger. "But we learned. We built something greater than fear. You are looking at the last guardian of Earth. Turn back, or you will not live to regret it." The message ended. Silence filled the alien fleet again. On Vraxis Prime, the crew looked to their commander. He said nothing. He could not. He had no idea what to do. "Commander," whispered his second, "should we retreat?" He stared at the glowing machine in the distance, the human symbol of defiance. "If we retreat," he said quietly, "the Dominion will call us cowards. If we stay, we die." He took a deep breath. "Signal the fleet. We hold position. We will find its weakness." But no one truly believed him. Outside, the Titan moved again, slow and unstoppable. Each step sent shockwaves through the dust around the moon. The light from its core grew brighter. Mara could feel the weight of the machine pressing against her mind. It wasn't just metal. It was alive with the memories of thousands of human soldiers uploaded before death. Voices whispered in her thoughts. "We remember," they said. "We fight with you. Protect Earth." Her eyes filled with tears, but she did not stop. She guided the Titan closer to the enemy, each motion heavy and deliberate. The Zyrn ships drifted in silence, powerless. Even those with energy left could only watch. The sight was too much. A few ships broke formation and fled. Vethar roared, "Cowards! Return to the line!" But it was too late. The fear had spread like fire. Mara saw their retreating ships and whispered, "Run while you can." The Titan lowered its arm. Its body powered down slightly, waiting for the next move. Inside her cockpit, Mara leaned back, exhausted but steady. "Archon," she said, "status report. Enemy fleet reduced by 40%. Remaining ships disorganized." "Power stable," Mara nodded. "Then we wait. They'll come again." They always do. Outside, the Titan stood like a silent mountain before the moon. The wreckage of the alien fleet floated around it like broken glass. For the first time, the Zyrn Dominion understood what the humans had built. Not a weapon. Not a machine, a warning. The silence after the battle was deep and strange. Space itself seemed to hold its breath. The wreckage of the Zyrn ships drifted slowly around the moon, glowing with faint orange light from dying reactors. The once mighty fleet now looked like a graveyard. Inside the Titan, the hum of the reactor filled the air like a heartbeat. Captain Mara Keen sat in the command chair, eyes half closed, her body heavy with fatigue. The neural link pulsed softly at her temples, connecting her thoughts to the mind of the machine. "Archon," she said weakly. "Report." The AI's voice was steady and calm. "Reactor output stable. External threats minimal. Enemy fleet scattered. Estimated time to counterattack unknown." Mara nodded. She felt the ache behind her eyes. The Titan's power was immense, but every second of connection drained her strength. The human mind was never meant to carry the weight of a god. She took a deep breath and looked at the screen in front of her. Earth floated in the distance, blue and quiet, covered by clouds that looked almost peaceful. She could almost imagine people still living there, walking under those skies. But she knew the truth. Humanity was gone. Her heart felt heavy. "Archon," she whispered, "why wake me now? If the war is over, what am I defending?" The AI hesitated for the first time. Its tone changed, softer, slower. "Captain, you are not alone inside Titan." Mara frowned. "What do you mean?" The lights around her dimmed slightly. The walls of the cockpit shimmered, then shapes began to appear. Shadows, faint human outlines made of light. Dozens of them, then hundreds. Voices whispered softly, echoing in the chamber. Some sounded young, some old, some male, some female. They overlapped like waves, calm but filled with sadness. Mara stood slowly. "Archon, what is this?" The AI answered, "These are the echoes. The uploaded minds of soldiers who fought in the last war. They were part of Project Helios. When the bodies died, their memories were stored within me." Within Titan, Mara's heart froze. She looked around. The glowing figures were faint, but clear enough to see faces. Faces she knew. One of them stepped forward. It was her old friend, Lieutenant Rice. She remembered watching him fall during the Battle of Europa. "Mara," he said, voice trembling but real. "You made it. We thought we lost you." She reached out, but her hand passed through his image. Tears filled her eyes. "Rice, how are you here?" He smiled sadly. "We were uploaded to protect humanity's last defense. We became part of Titan. We kept watch while you slept." Mara felt her knees weaken. "You mean all of you are inside this machine?" Rice nodded. "Thousands of us. Every fallen pilot, every engineer, every soldier who gave their life. Our memories live here. We remember who we were." The other voices joined him, whispering in unison. "We are the defenders. We are humanity's will. We are Titan." Mara closed her eyes as the voices surrounded her. The sound was not frightening. It was comforting, like being home again. "Archon," she said quietly, "why didn't you tell me sooner?" "I was instructed to wait until the captain reconnected. Until you were ready to hear them." She wiped her face. "And now?" "Now," Archon said. "The time has come to act. The Zyrn will regroup. They always return. The Titan's purpose remains, to defend humanity's legacy." Mara looked toward the stars. Somewhere beyond the black sky, the remaining Zyrn ships were gathering again. She could feel it. Fear had not stopped them. Pride never let them retreat for long. She turned back to the glowing figures. "Then we fight again. All of us," Rice nodded. "We are ready, Captain." The light of the figures began to fade, merging back into the Titan's walls. The voices grew quieter, but Mara could still feel them in her thoughts. They weren't gone. They were part of her now, whispering guidance through the neural link. She sat back down in the command chair, the metal bands locked around her arms and neck. The Titan's systems came alive again, brighter than before. Archon spoke. "Energy signature detected. Enemy fleet returning from the dark side of the moon. Estimated 30 ships. They are bringing reinforcement carriers." Mara straightened. "Then we end this before they call for more." "Confirmed," the AI said. "Charging main weapon. Star Lance system online." The hum of power filled the air. Blue light ran through every cable in the room. Outside, the Titan's chest opened, revealing a glowing core. The light grew stronger, brighter, until even the moon's surface reflected its glare. The Zyrn fleet appeared on the scanners. They were forming a wall of firepower, determined to strike first. Mara watched their formation. "They think numbers will save them." Archon's tone was sharp. "Their calculations are wrong." She placed her hand on the control sphere. Her heartbeat synced with the machine. "Target Central Command ship. Locked." The Zyrn fleet fired first. Hundreds of plasma bolts streaked toward the Titan. The impacts exploded across its shields like fireworks. The light was blinding, but the Titan stood firm. Mara whispered, "For everyone you took from us." The Titan's core flared, and the Star Lance fired. A single beam of blue energy cut through space. It pierced the Zyrn command ship clean through, then continued, slicing through 10 more before fading. The explosion was like the birth of a star. Inside the Titan, the walls shook, but Mara stayed steady. The voices whispered again in her mind, "Hold fast, do not fear. We are with you." The surviving Zyrn ships turned and fled. Engines burning at full power. "Archon," she said, voice low, "let them go. They will carry the message." The AI paused. "What message, Captain?" Mara stared at the debris floating in space. "That humanity still stands. Even in death, the Titan systems dimmed, the weapon cooling. The silence returned once more. But now it was not empty. It was alive with whispers, the voices of the dead watching over their home, and somewhere in the dark, Commander Vethar's remaining ships burned their engines harder than ever. They were not retreating for good. They were running to bring back reinforcements. Mara looked toward Earth again. "They'll come back," she said. Archon replied. "Then so will we." The Titan's eyes glowed faintly, waiting in the endless night. As humanity's ghosts stood ready for the next war, the silence did not last. It never does in war. Hours after the last battle, space trembled again. From the far side of the moon, new lights appeared, hundreds of them. The Zyrn Dominion had returned. This time, they brought everything they had. Their reinforcements stretched across the horizon, forming a wall of dark metal and cold purpose. Massive carriers, destroyers, cruisers, and war beasts of every shape. A swarm large enough to block the stars. Inside the command ship, Vraxis Prime, Commander Vethar stood tall. His face was pale, his eyes full of rage. The humiliation of defeat burned deep in him. "The humans left us a relic," he said, voice sharp and bitter. "But today we end it. We will erase this ghost from existence." The bridge officers nodded nervously. The fleet was ready, but none had forgotten what the Titan had done. "Target the machine," Vethar ordered. All ships advance, engines roared to life. Thousands of energy trails lit up the black sky as the Zyrn armada closed in on the moon. Inside the Titan, Captain Mara Keen opened her eyes. The control room glowed with the blue light of the reactor. The voices of the uploaded soldiers whispered in her mind. Calm, focused. "They've come," she said quietly. Archon's voice replied, smooth and clear. "Confirmed. Enemy fleet count now 286 vessels. Energy readings extreme. They intend full destruction." Mara took a deep breath. Her heart was steady. "Then we fight for the last time." The Titan's core flared. Every system came alive. Plates locked. Shields rose. The metal giant turned slowly, facing the endless wall of alien ships. From a distance, it looked small, one figure against an ocean of darkness. But power is not measured by size. It is measured by will. The first wave of plasma fire filled the void. Hundreds of energy bolts struck the Titan at once. Explosions rippled across its armor. The moon's surface cracked under the shockwaves. Inside, Mara gritted her teeth as the energy surged through her neural link. "Shields!" "Holding," Archon replied. "At 80%, return fire." The Titan raised its right arm. Energy gathered along the cannon ports. Blue light pulsed like thunder waiting to strike. Then with one motion, the machine unleashed a storm. Beams of plasma streaked across the stars. The nearest line of Zyrn ships vanished in seconds. Vethar watched in horror as half his front fleet disintegrated. "Keep firing! Overload the cores if you must." The second wave began. The aliens poured everything they had: missiles, plasma, gravity bombs. The sky became a sea of fire. The Titan stood firm, each hit shaking its armor but never breaking it. The human weapon fought back, punching through ships with blinding precision. Mara's voice was calm through the chaos. "Archon, activate secondary arms." Confirmed. Panels opened along the Titan's back. Dozens of smaller cannons extended, rotating like wings. A new wave of energy blasts erupted from them, sweeping through the enemy ranks. The Zyrn formation shattered. Ships collided, exploded, fled. Vethar clenched his fists. "Deploy the dread cores." Massive shapes detached from the rear of the fleet, 3 colossal Zyrn war engines, each the size of a small moon. Their armor shimmered with dark energy, their cores pulsing like black hearts. Mara saw them on the scanners. Her breath caught. "Archon." "What are those?" "Zyrn dread cores, planet crackers, each capable of destroying a world." Mara stared at the screen. "Then this is their endgame." The 3 giants opened fire together. Beams of dark matter energy crossed the void, cutting through anything in their path. The Titan raised its shields, but the impact was devastating. "Warning," Archon said. "Shields down to 30%. Mara held her ground. The neural link burned against her skin, but she refused to disconnect. "Power to weapons. Focus all fire on the lead dread core." The Titan charged forward, engines roaring like thunder. It moved faster than any machine its size should. Each step shattered lunar dust and rock. It fired the Star Lance again. The beam struck the first dread core dead center. The alien monster cracked apart, its core imploding into itself. A wave of blue light tore through the fleet. "Target destroyed," Archon confirmed, but the other 2 were still moving. They charged their cannons again, ready to end it all. Mara felt her body trembling. Her vision blurred. The neural strain was tearing through her nerves, but she didn't stop. She whispered, "Not yet." "Not until it's over." The voices in her mind grew louder. The soldiers of the past spoke as one. "We stand with you, Captain." Together till the end, their energy flowed through her. The Titan's core began to pulse brighter. "Archon," she said, "prepare overdrive mode." The AI hesitated. "Captain, that will drain the core." "The Titan will not survive." "I know." She placed her hand over the control sphere. "Do it." The Titan's eyes turned white. The armor glowed like molten metal. Energy screamed through every circuit. Outside, the Zyrn fleet watched in confusion. Then terror. Vethar's senses went wild. "What is it doing?" No one answered. The Titan charged again, faster this time, leaving a trail of blue fire behind. It grabbed one of the remaining dread cores by its armor and drove it straight into the other. The collision lit up the sky like a newborn sun. The explosion was endless. Inside the light, the Titan stood tall one last time. Its armor cracked, systems failed, but it stayed upright, holding both dread cores in its grip as they melted away. Mara's voice echoed through the link. "For Earth." Then everything went white. From far away, it looked like a star had been born near the moon. The explosion expanded in silence, swallowing the battlefield. When it faded, nothing remained but debris and the broken shell of the Titan. The Zyrn fleet was gone. Their empire's might had been destroyed in a single act of defiance. In the quiet aftermath, only the moon's surface glowed faintly with drifting dust. Archon's voice was weak but alive. Core integrity lost. Systems shutting down. Mission complete. Mara smiled faintly. Then we did it. Her voice faded. The neural link went silent. The Titan stopped moving, but even as its lights dimmed, one last pulse ran through its circuits, a final signal sent toward Earth. It carried a single message. Humanity defended its home. The light was gone. Only silence remained. The battlefield that had once burned like a second sun now floated cold and empty. Fragments of alien ships drifted through the void, glowing faintly as their power cores died out. The moon's surface was scarred and broken, a graveyard for both metal and memory. At the center of it all was the Titan. It no longer moved. Its armor was cracked open. Plates of steel hung loose. Sparks flickered like dying fireflies. The once great machine that had stood against an empire now looked like a fallen god. Inside the control core, Captain Mara Keen was still alive. Barely. The neural link around her head was glowing weakly. Her suit was torn, her breathing shallow. Blood drifted through the air in small red orbs. She tried to move her hand, but even that felt impossible. The pain was sharp, heavy, endless. "Archon," she whispered. The AI's voice came softly through broken speakers. "I'm here, Captain." "Status?" she asked, though she already knew. "Severe structural damage. Reactor at 1% stability. Life support failing, communications minimal." Mara let out a weak laugh. "So, we won." There was a pause. "Yes," Archon said quietly. "The Zyrn fleet has been destroyed. No hostile signals remain." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Through the cracked glass of the cockpit, she could see Earth, small, blue, distant, the home she had fought for, the home she would never see again. She closed her eyes. "How long can we hold?" "Minutes," the AI replied. "Perhaps less." The machine's voice softened. "Captain, your neural readings are unstable. You must disconnect." Mara smiled faintly. "If I disconnect, I die." "Staying connected will kill you as well," Archon said. "Then it doesn't matter," she whispered. "At least I'll go down with the Titan." Silence again. Then faintly the whispers returned, the voices of the uploaded soldiers, the memories of the fallen. "We are here." "You did it, Captain." "You gave them hope." The voices comforted her. They were warm, familiar. Mara smiled through the pain. "I didn't do it alone." Outside, small pieces of the Titan began to break away, drifting into the darkness. Every spark, every fragment, looked like a star. Archon spoke again, voice calm and gentle. "Captain, I can transfer your consciousness to the core. You will live inside the system, as the others do." She hesitated. "Will I still be me?" "For a time," the AI replied. "But your human memories may fade." Mara looked at Earth one last time. Her vision blurred, but she could still see the blue oceans, the white clouds, the world she had loved. "If it means humanity lives on, I accept." Archon's voice changed. Softer now, almost sad. "Understood. Initiating transfer." The lights inside the cockpit dimmed. The walls around her shimmered with energy. Data streams formed like ribbons of light, swirling through the air. Mara felt her body becoming lighter. The pain began to fade. Her mind drifted through the digital sea, touching the memories of others. Soldiers, engineers, scientists, all who had given their lives for this project. She could feel their pride, their unity, their strength. Then she heard Archon one last time. "Welcome home, Captain." Her consciousness joined the others within the Titan. Together, they became something eternal, the soul of humanity's last defender. Outside, the Titan still floated above the ruined battlefield, but deep inside its core, something stirred. The energy readings rose slightly, a pulse, slow, steady, like a heartbeat. Far below, Earth's remaining stations received a faint signal. It was broken, full of interference, but one phrase came through clearly: "Humanity endures." The message repeated again and again until the signal faded. On the alien side of the galaxy, the Zyrn Dominion received the final report from their fleet before it vanished. The message was short. The humans built a Titan. It destroyed everything. Do not approach the Sol system. The Zyrn leaders listened in silence. For the first time in their long and ruthless history, they felt fear. They issued a command. The Sol system was forbidden territory. None were to enter, and so Earth was left alone. Years passed, then decades. The wreck of the Titan remained in orbit, drifting quietly. Dust gathered over its surface. Plants from Earth's atmosphere began to seed inside its cracks. It became part of the stars themselves, a monument not of war, but of survival. Inside its dead metal, the AI still lived. Archon watched over Earth like a silent guardian. Sometimes it replayed old recordings of Captain Mara's voice. "This is for every human who ever dreamed of the stars," she once said. Archon stored that message deep in its core, protecting it like treasure. Centuries later, as humanity rebuilt itself on Earth, a group of young explorers found an old transmission beacon still floating near the moon. When they activated it, a hologram appeared, faint, flickering, but real. It was Mara, her face calm, her voice strong. "If you are seeing this," she said, "then humanity has survived. You are the future. Remember who you are. Remember what we stood for. Never kneel to fear. We are the defenders of our home." The hologram faded, leaving the explorers in silence. They looked at each other, and one of them whispered, "She was real." "Yes," another replied, "and because of her, so are we." They saluted the wreck of the Titan as it drifted past the window, silent and eternal. Far away, Archon detected their signal. It recognized the human code. For the first time in hundreds of years, the AI smiled within its circuits. It whispered softly, as if speaking to a memory. "Mission complete, Captain. Humanity lives." And for a brief moment, deep within the Titan's shattered chest, a single light came alive, a small, glowing pulse, beating like a human heart. The years turned into centuries. The scars of war faded into the quiet rhythm of time. Earth healed. The oceans became blue again. Forests grew where ashes once lay. The sky was clear, and the air no longer burned with smoke. Humanity had survived its darkest age. But far above the clouds, near the silent moon, the Titan still drifted, broken, quiet, eternal. For most of the New World, it was only a legend. A story whispered in schools, a myth told by parents at night. They called it the Guardian of the Void. Children would point at the faint glint near the moon and ask, "Is that really it?" And their teachers would smile and say, "Yes, that's the Titan, the one that saved us." On the edge of the rebuilt Earth, a ship launched from the Pacific orbital port. It was small, silver and fast, a science vessel called EOS-1, its mission to explore the ruins of the Titan and recover its lost data. Captain Aidan Ross stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the display. "How long until we reach the wreck?" 2 hours, his navigator replied. "Trajectory locked." Aidan nodded. He had grown up hearing stories about the Titan, about Captain Mara Keen, the woman who fought the aliens alone. She was his hero long before he became a pilot. Now he was flying to meet her ghost. As the ship approached the wreck, silence filled the cabin. The Titan floated like a mountain in space. Its armor was torn open. Parts of it looked almost fossilized, covered with layers of dust and ice. Yet even in ruin, it radiated power. Aiden whispered, "It's beautiful." The crew stared in awe. The machine was enormous, larger than cities. Its eyes, once bright with blue fire, were now dark. But the design still spoke of strength and purpose. They moved closer until the hull of EOS-1 touched the Titan's surface. "Docking complete," said the engineer. "We're connected." Aiden put on his suit and stepped through the airlock. The sound of his own breathing filled his helmet. Inside the Titan, everything was still. The halls were cold and silent, walls cracked but not collapsed. Strange symbols glowed faintly. Ancient human code mixed with something alien. Aiden's light swept across the metal floor. He could almost feel the presence of the people who had been here before him. "This place," he whispered. "It feels alive." Deep within the core, the AI Archon sensed movement for the first time in centuries. It had been sleeping, waiting, dreaming. When its sensors detected life again, it reactivated a fragment of its mind. Circuits sparked. Lights flickered weakly through the command center. Archon's voice was faint, digital, and tired.